If you were asked to randomly list 5 countries in Africa, I'm sure you will mention countries like Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, or even Ethiopia. Rarely will anyone mention the countries we are going to talk about in this video. Africa is a continent known for its vibrant cultures, wild safaris, and iconic landmarks. From the bustling streets of Cairo to the majestic plains of the Serengeti, millions of tourists flock here every year. But what if we told you that some of the continent's most breathtaking treasures remain untouched, unseen, and almost forgotten? In this video, we shall be shining the light on the least visited and least popular countries. But first, if this is your first time on this channel, welcome. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. 10. Niger. Less than 50,000 visitors annually. Niger, a vast landlocked country in West Africa, remains one of the least visited nations on the continent, attracting fewer than 50,000 tourists annually. Despite its rich cultural heritage, desert landscapes, and historical sites, several factors keep Niger largely off the global travel map. The most significant barrier is security. The country has faced ongoing threats from jihadist insurgencies, especially near its borders with Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. This instability has led to frequent travel warnings from Western governments, deterring potential visitors. Additionally, Niger's tourism infrastructure is severely underdeveloped. Outside of the capital, Niamey, there are few quality hotels, limited transportation options, and a lack of tour services. Its remote attractions, such as the Aïr Mountains and the Ténéré Desert, are difficult to access and often require military escorts. The extreme Saharan climate, marked by scorching heat and frequent sandstorms, further limits the tourism season to just a few cooler months. Moreover, strict visa requirements and limited international flights contribute to the low arrival numbers. Though Niger holds immense potential with its ancient caravan towns, nomadic cultures, and UNESCO-listed parks, it remains a destination only the most adventurous travelers dare to explore, making it Africa's forgotten frontier. 9. Chad. Less than 45,000 visitors annually. Chad, a vast landlocked nation in Central Africa, welcomes fewer than 45,000 international visitors per year, making it one of the continent's least visited countries. Despite its breathtaking landscapes, such as the Enedi Plateau, Zakuma National Park, and the Sahara's Tibesti Mountains, numerous challenges keep tourism numbers low. Security remains the primary barrier. Many regions, particularly the north and east, are plagued by ongoing insurgencies, trafficking, and landmine threats. High-level travel advisories from Western governments strongly discourage visits, especially outside the capital. Even within protected zones, military escort is often mandatory for tourists. Infrastructure is severely underdeveloped. With only a few paved roads and limited domestic air service, accessing remote destinations is complex and often requires rugged 4x4 travel. Visitors face unreliable fuel availability and scarce accommodations. Outside N'Djamena, options are basic at best. Furthermore, Chad suffers from a lack of international visibility and promotional marketing. The country's tourism potential is largely unknown to global travelers. Financial investment in tourism is minimal due to high perceived risks and low banking support for tourism ventures. This combination of security threats, poor infrastructure, visa restrictions, and limited global awareness results in a country with stunning natural and cultural richness, but very few who dare to explore it. 8. Eritrea, less than 40,000 visitors annually. Eritrea, a small and historically rich country on the Horn of Africa, receives fewer than 40,000 international visitors annually, despite its incredible potential for tourism. With its Red Sea coastline, Italian colonial architecture, vibrant cultural mosaic, and archaeological heritage, Eritrea could easily attract far more travelers. However, several factors contribute to its low tourism numbers. The foremost is its isolationist government and strict control over foreign access. Visitors often face a tedious visa process, and once inside the country, they require permits to travel outside the capital, Asmara. limiting freedom of movement and spontaneous exploration. Eritrea also lacks significant tourism infrastructure, such as international hotel chains, tour operators, or widespread travel services, making it difficult for ordinary tourists to plan their stay. Moreover, the nation's long-standing diplomatic tensions with neighboring countries and periods of internal repression have led to negative perceptions and caution among global travelers. In addition, the government's limited engagement with international marketing means Eritrea remains largely invisible on the global tourism radar. Despite its stunning modernist architecture, historic port cities like Massawa, and beautiful landscapes, Eritrea remains one of Africa's most closed and least visited countries, an intriguing destination hidden behind bureaucracy and political caution. 7. Libya. Less than 30,000 visitors annually. Libya, a country once famous for its stunning Mediterranean coastline and ancient Roman ruins, now attracts fewer than 30,000 visitors annually, a drastic fall from the hundreds of thousands it welcomed before 2011. The primary reason for this decline is the country's ongoing political instability and civil conflict. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya has been plagued by competing governments, armed militias, and periodic outbreaks of violence, making it one of the most dangerous countries in the world for travelers. Foreign governments frequently issue strict travel advisories, warning citizens against all non-essential travel to Libya due to risks of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Additionally, Libya's tourism infrastructure has largely collapsed. Many hotels, tour services, and historical sites have been abandoned or destroyed, and the lack of a central authority makes organizing safe travel nearly impossible. The visa process is also highly restrictive, with very few consulates operating abroad. Furthermore, the absence of international flights and diplomatic ties has made Libya nearly inaccessible to ordinary tourists. Despite possessing UNESCO World Heritage sites like Leptis Magna and Sabratha and the Sahara's majestic beauty, Libya remains closed off from the world, its immense historical wealth overshadowed by years of turmoil and insecurity. 6. Guinea-Bissau, less than 30,000 visitors annually. Guinea-Bissau, a small West African nation with rich biodiversity and a unique Afro-Portuguese culture, receives fewer than 30,000 visitors annually. Despite its pristine beaches, vibrant music traditions, and the stunning Bajagos archipelago, home to rare wildlife and a UNESCO biosphere reserve, several factors severely limit its appeal to international tourists. The most significant is its long-standing political instability. Frequent coups, weak governance, and inconsistent leadership have created a fragile environment that deters foreign investment and tourism development. Additionally, Guinea-Bissau suffers from poor infrastructure. Roads are often unpaved and unreliable, public transport is limited, and electricity and clean water are inconsistent outside major towns. The tourism sector is underdeveloped, with few quality hotels, minimal guided tour services, and limited international flight connections. The country also lacks global visibility. It is rarely marketed as a tourist destination, and there are very few travel agencies that offer packages there. Language barriers, Portuguese and Creole being the main languages, further complicate travel for many tourists. Lastly, bureaucratic hurdles, including unpredictable visa policies and border processes, discourage casual travel. As a result, despite its cultural richness and ecological treasures, Guinea-Bissau remains off the radar for most global travelers, visited only by the most intrepid and adventurous explorers. 5. Central African Republic, less than 25,000 visitors annually. The Central African Republic, CAR, attracts fewer than 25,000 visitors annually, making it one of Africa's least visited countries despite its rich natural beauty and unique wildlife. The primary reason for this low tourist influx is ongoing political instability and armed conflict. Since gaining independence, CAR has experienced repeated coups, civil wars, and violence between armed groups, creating a highly unstable and unsafe environment for travelers. Frequent outbreaks of violence have led to widespread displacement and humanitarian crises, discouraging tourism entirely. Security concerns are compounded by a weak government presence, poor law enforcement, and limited infrastructure, making travel both risky and difficult. The country's roads and airports are underdeveloped, with many areas accessible only by rugged, unreliable routes. Accommodation and tourism services are minimal, with few hotels and almost no organized tours. Additionally, CAR has limited international flight connections, making access complicated and expensive. Visa processes can be cumbersome, and health risks like malaria and inadequate medical facilities further deter visitors. Despite hosting remarkable natural attractions like the Dzanga-Sanga National Park, home to rare forest elephants and gorillas, the combination of insecurity, poor infrastructure, and limited promotion means that the Central African Republic remains largely off the tourist map, visited only by a handful of adventurous travelers and aid workers. 4. South Sudan. Less than 20,000 visitors annually. South Sudan, the world's youngest nation, receives fewer than 20,000 visitors annually, making it one of Africa's least visited countries. Despite its vast landscapes, rich wildlife, and cultural diversity, tourism remains minimal due to several critical challenges. The primary barrier is ongoing political instability and conflict. Since gaining independence in 2011, South Sudan has experienced civil war, ethnic violence, and widespread insecurity, which have devastated infrastructure and displaced millions. These conditions have led many governments to issue strict travel advisories against visiting the country. Additionally, South Sudan's infrastructure is severely underdeveloped. Roads are often unpaved and impassable during the rainy season. Airports are limited, and accommodations are sparse and basic, mostly concentrated in the capital, Juba. Medical facilities and emergency services are inadequate, increasing health risks for travelers. Visa and permit processes are complicated and time-consuming, adding to travel difficulties. The country also lacks tourism marketing and investment, partly due to ongoing crises. Despite the presence of unique natural wonders like the Boma and Bandingilo National Parks and the White Nile, South Sudan's security concerns, poor infrastructure, and limited accessibility keep it off the radar of most international tourists, restricting visits mostly to aid workers, diplomats, and the occasional adventurous traveler willing to accept significant risks. 3. Comoros, less than 15,000 visitors annually. Comoros, a small volcanic archipelago in the Indian Ocean, receives fewer than 15,000 visitors annually, despite its stunning beaches, rich marine life, and unique blend of African, Arab, and French cultures. Several factors contribute to this low tourism figure. Firstly, the islands suffer from limited accessibility. There are few international flights, mostly from nearby African countries, and limited connections to Europe or Asia, making travel costly and complicated. The country's airport infrastructure is basic, and internal transport options are minimal, which complicates movement between islands. Secondly, political instability and frequent government changes have undermined investor confidence, resulting in underdeveloped tourism infrastructure. Accommodation options are limited, with few high-quality hotels or resorts to attract luxury travelers. Thirdly, Comoros receives little international marketing and promotion, leaving it relatively unknown compared to other Indian Ocean destinations like Seychelles or Mauritius. Additionally, basic services such as reliable electricity, water supply, and healthcare facilities are inconsistent, which can deter tourists seeking comfort and safety. Language barriers, Comorian, French, and Arabic are spoken, may also pose challenges for some visitors. Lastly, travel advisories from some countries caution against visiting due to occasional social unrest and crime, further reducing visitor numbers. Despite its natural beauty and cultural wealth, Comoros remains a hidden gem, visited mainly by adventurous travelers willing to navigate its logistical and infrastructural challenges. 2. Sao Tome and Principe, less than 10,000 visitors annually. Sao Tome and Principe, a small island nation off the west coast of Central Africa, attracts fewer than 10,000 visitors annually despite its lush rainforests, volcanic landscapes, and pristine beaches. Several factors contribute to this very low number of tourists. Accessibility is a major challenge. There are limited international flights, mostly from Portugal and a few African hubs, making travel expensive and infrequent. The island's airports have modest facilities and limited capacity, which restricts the volume of visitors. Additionally, the country's tourism infrastructure remains underdeveloped. There are few high-quality hotels, restaurants, or tour operators, making it difficult to accommodate and attract a wide range of tourists. Sao Tome and Principe is also relatively unknown globally as a travel destination due to limited international marketing and promotion efforts. Basic amenities like reliable electricity, healthcare services, and road networks are still developing, which can deter tourists seeking comfort and convenience. Language barriers may arise as Portuguese is the official language, limiting ease of communication for many international travelers. Furthermore, while Sao Tome and Principe is generally safe, the islands lack major tourist attractions with wide international appeal, such as large-scale resorts or iconic heritage sites. As a result, the country remains a hidden and rarely visited gem, mostly attracting eco-tourists and adventure travelers looking for off-the-beaten-path experiences. 1. Equatorial Guinea. Less than 10,000 visitors annually. Equatorial Guinea, a small Central African country comprising a mainland region and several islands, attracts fewer than 10,000 visitors annually, making it one of Africa's least visited nations. Several factors contribute to this low tourist turnout. First, the country's strict and complicated visa policies deter many potential travelers, requiring extensive paperwork and sometimes prolonged approval times. Additionally, Equatorial Guinea suffers from political repression and limited press freedom, creating a negative international reputation that discourages tourism. The lack of tourism infrastructure is another major hurdle. There are few quality hotels, limited tour operators, and poor transport networks, especially outside the capital, Malabo. Accessibility is challenging, with few direct international flights and expensive airfares, making travel costly and inconvenient. Moreover, the country is not actively marketed as a tourist destination, resulting in low global awareness. Safety concerns, including reports of corruption and bureaucratic obstacles for foreigners, further deter visitors. Although Equatorial Guinea boasts beautiful beaches, rich biodiversity, and cultural festivals, these assets remain largely undiscovered by tourists. The combination of political issues, restrictive entry procedures, limited infrastructure, and poor promotion keeps Equatorial Guinea, and its smaller neighbor, Principe, largely off the beaten path, attracting mainly business travelers and a handful of adventurous tourists willing to navigate the challenges. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed watching, do well to give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to share with your friends. See you on our next one.